guys, welcome back. Welcome to another video. Thank you guys for watching and for supporting me. For you guys who don't know, this is my baby. His name is Baby and I've had him for 10 years. He is the love of my life and he is usually just all around, so you'll see him around in my videos. So today's topic is going to be something that's very personal to me and very close to my heart. And unfortunately right now we have a president who is just set on making this a very controversial and just, he's out to make, you know, undocumented people seem as this terrible criminals that we should all be scared of. And I was undocumented. I have family who is undocumented or has been undocumented at some point. So today I want to talk a little bit about being undocumented. I came from Colombia. I came here when I was 11 years old. I did come legally, but we overstayed our visa. And the reason why we came to the US was because my parents were getting a divorce and my dad lived here. So for all the court proceedings and all that stuff, my mom kept having to come to the US, and she lost her job in Colombia. And you know, when that was all done, she couldn't find a job. It was just, it was really hard. The situation was really tough. We were struggling a lot. You know, she had 3 kids to take care of, and she decided to just bring us to the US, try to make, you know, a better opportunity, a better life for us, for herself. And we came here, and we came legally. We had our visas, we had our paperwork, but we decided to overstay, which in turn made us undocumented immigrants. So we didn't have papers for a long time, and you know, my mom had to find ways to find work. And you know, unfortunately right now we're just seeing this conversation, and we have a president who is just set on making undocumented people seem like criminals and like just terrible human beings, and they're not. They're just people. And you know, he's so set on like building a wall and making everyone just hate again, you know, so much hate. He just has so much hate in his heart, and he's spreading it out there. So I think this is just an important conversation to have. And just, you know, if you feel a certain way, I get it. Like, people are like, well, this is a crime and you shouldn't be doing this and that. But you know, for example, in my situation, my mom did what she had to do to raise her kids, to give us a better opportunity, and to feed us. I mean, we were struggling in Colombia. We were having a really hard time. So she did what was best for us, and look where we are now. I mean, my sister's a dentist, my brother is a doctor. You know, I'm getting my master's, I'm starting a nonprofit, I want to give back. Like, she did what was best for us. I don't think that we would have had the opportunities that we have here had we stayed in Colombia. So for today, I actually got the chance to interview an amazing guy. He went to high school with me, and he's very, very vocal about his situation. He is undocumented. He is a dreamer. So all of these conversations and all of these things are directly affecting him right now. I was lucky that when I was undocumented, I was still in high school, so I didn't really get to experience it as an adult. I mean, I know how hard it is to think, like, you know, we could be deported at any time. I know how hard it is to, you know, I saw my mom just struggle to, like, find a job, to lose jobs when they found out she was actually undocumented, to, you know, be scared, that, like, fear of what if ICE comes tomorrow, what if, you know, I get pulled over and get deported. So I know that feeling, but it didn't really affect me as an adult. So I got a great chance to interview this guy, and that's what today's all about. Just kind of, you know, what is it like being undocumented? And, you know, maybe if you are someone who has certain negative feelings, just understand that we're all human, and that, you know, a document or a paperwork, like, it doesn't make you any less human. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you any different. You know, at the end of the day, some people just got lucky to be born here. Like, there isn't a difference between someone being born here and someone being born in Mexico and Nicaragua and Guatemala and Japan and China. You were just born in different places. And you know, it's another conversation that I feel like it's always undocumented equals Mexican, and that's not the case. I mean, I'm Colombian, and we were undocumented. I know millions of Colombians who are undocumented, and not even just Latinos. They come from, Europe, Russia. Unfortunately, other parts of the world aren't as fortunate as the U.S. So, I want you guys to take a look at this interview and just kind of see that, what, we're all human, we're all trying our best, and at the end of the day, we're all just here trying to make a better life for ourselves. So, let's take a look. Hi guys, so I'm here today with my friend Miguel Pimentel. We went to high school together and we've known each other for about 10 years now.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone. First of all, thank you for allowing me to share my story with you all. My name is Miguel Pimentel, and I'll be sharing a little bit about my story, specifically about my immigration story about being undocumented.
Yeah, so today's topic is going to be being undocumented and being a dreamer. So he has agreed to come and interview with me. So let's start with maybe just getting to know you a little bit. So what is your story?
So my story began when I came to the United States when I was 11 years old.
Okay.
I came here with my siblings. We came because we wanted to see my mom and my dad. They immigrated here before us, and we actually want to meet, be here as a family. I came here going to school as a sixth grader, coming to the United States, not knowing any English at all. It was definitely one of my struggles. And then, I came here sixth grade. I remember, being bullied just because I didn't know how to speak the language. And then little by little, I started, to learn the language. And, I went to sixth grade. I eventually got B's, C's, a couple of D's because of the language barrier. And then eventually I moved on. I went to Winton Middle School.
Mm-hmm.
And then at Winton, I started to get, better grades, A's and B's, a couple of C's, but not D's anymore.
Did you go to ESL? Because there was that English Learning Center, right?
Yeah, I went to the ELC Center. Yeah, I went there for like a couple of months, for like 3 months, I believe. And then right before I graduated from Winton Middle School, I actually went to Hayward High School. And that's when I pretty much, got ESL classes as well, because I was in ESL 3, 4, 5. And eventually I, worked my way up and be like in a not regular, but it was like a shelter class.
Mm-hmm. I was in shelter classes.
Right, and then graduated from Winton Middle School with I would say like a 3.5 GPA, and then I went to high school. Freshman year in high school, I was able to get all A's. I got like a perfect 4.0.
Nice.
And then the freshman year, I got a letter from the district saying that I was nominated to actually participate at a summer academic program at UCLA. And I applied for it, and I got in. And then that summer of 2005, I was able to travel to UCLA, and I stayed there for about a month.
Oh, wow.
And I stayed at the dorms. I met like around 100 students from all over the state of California, undocumented and documented students. And at that program, pretty much I learned about the AB 540 law that allows undocumented students to pay in-state tuition when they apply to college. I learned about my rights as an undocumented student, immigrant rights. Pretty much I learned everything that, as a student you need to know about my situation, and as well as how to apply to colleges. And at that time I was 13 years old. I was the youngest of the whole program. And
wow, yeah, you were a freshman when you were 13? Wow, me too, yeah.
So pretty much I learned everything. And, when the program ended, I actually came back to Hayward, and I was ready to share all of the knowledge, all of the things that I've learned at the program, to actually come back to my community and, let them know that undocumented students can actually go to college regardless of their immigration status.
I feel like there were a lot of undocumented students at Hayward High, because I was also an undocumented student up until my senior year, and I didn't even know about all this. So tell us a little bit more about being a dreamer and the DACA program and all that stuff for anyone who doesn't know what that is.
Right. Going back a little bit about, my high school experience. I was a junior, I did, receive good grades in junior year, senior year, but then in my senior year, I was ready to apply to colleges and universities, but it hit me because I didn't actually apply to any UCs, even though I had the grades, and I didn't apply to UCs just because they were more expensive, and I knew that as an undocumented student, I couldn't pay because I couldn't pay for school because I couldn't be part of. Actually, I couldn't apply for financial aid
Yeah.
just because of my status, and even though I applied to a lot of CSUs, I got accepted, and I went to Cal State East Bay. I got in, and my freshman year in college, I pretty much started to work at a restaurant as a janitor and dishwasher, just because I wanted it to be to pay for my school as well. And
So you paid for your own schooling the whole time? Wow.
well, my first year, yes, but eventually I got an academic probation by the end of my freshman year in college. So I talked to my parents and I was like, hey, I'm getting bad grades. Is it okay if you guys can actually pay for it? And my parents agree, and they said, yeah, go for it. Work, go to school, focus on school, and that's what I did. In sophomore year in college, my second year, third year, I was focusing on school. I was receiving A's and B's. I was placed on the dean's list and stuff like that. And as going into my last year of college, I was like, shoot, I'm undocumented. Like, what am I gonna do after college? I'm about to graduate, right? But I don't have a social anymore. Like, I don't have a social. Like, how am I gonna work right after college?
Yeah, and then also you might think like, why am I even go to school if I can't even get a job?
Right. But then something happened back in 2012 when former President Obama passed the executive action called the DACA program, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, that allows certain undocumented students to actually get a work permit and work legally in the U.S., right? And I still remember the date. It was like a day before my Cal State East Bay graduation that, President Obama made that big news. Wow. Yeah, that it was announced. And I literally like cried the day of, and I was like, oh my God, I'm about to graduate like tomorrow, and I'm gonna be given the opportunity to work, contribute to the society, work and give back. And I was really happy, and eventually I applied for the DACA program. There was a lot of documentation that I have to show to immigration that I was here on that day when President Obama passed the law, and then I have to like meet certain requirements.
Do you remember the requirements by any chance?
The requirements, let's see. I remember that you have to be here, came to the United States before the age of 16.
Okay.
Not being part of any gang-related activities or committed a crime.
Have a criminal history.
Yep. And then going to school. If you're in high school or actually getting a GED, diploma, certificate.
So any kind of student.
Any kind of student,
any type of student. Okay.
But in order to apply for the DACA program, the student has to be like at least 15 years old in order to apply.
Okay.
But unfortunately, because of the new administration, the Trump administration, they're not accepting new applicants as of now. They're only accepting renewals. So meaning if, for example, in my case, since I already have DACA before,
you're okay.
I can still renew it until, whoever, like President Trump decides to actually remove the DACA program completely.
And what would happen if they did remove the DACA program completely? You would lose the privilege of being able to work?
Right, yeah. I would definitely lose the privilege of working and contributing to the society, and I will lose my job. I will lose my job as being a counselor at Cal State East Bay. I would totally lose my job because I will no longer have the work permit, work authorization, my work permit, and also my license. Right now, I have my license for 5 years, but after that, if the DACA program gets removed, then that means that I wouldn't be able to drive a car and stuff like that. So it would definitely affect me like personally, and also it would affect my students that I currently serve at Cal State East Bay, and also the students that I serve as a counselor intern at the Hayward High School.
So do you deal with a lot of students that are dreamers right now at East Bay?
Yes, I have
Yeah.
a couple of students that they come to me and they pretty much share their story. I also tell them my story so that way they can relate, and I have a few students that
Yeah.
they can connect with and stuff like that.
That's awesome. And talking a little bit about Trump and everything and the election, I think that illegal immigration was such a hot topic. How did you feel when he would say, like illegals are criminals and, Mexico sending all that's just awful, terrible things?
Mm-hmm.
And the sad part is that this is our president, and also that there are so many others who agree with him or feel that way. Like, how did you feel personally when he was saying all those things?
I mean, I would laugh because the media, sometimes the media portrays undocumented people as bad, but they're not really looking at the stories of, for example, our stories, our parents' stories that they're really hardworking. They're just working,
They
they're
just
contributing to the
came here
society,
for a better
for a
opportunity.
better life,
Yeah.
in search of a better opportunity, to get educated and also giving back to this country. And I feel like a lot of people here in the United States, sometimes they say, "Oh, why don't you get in line?" But there's no line actually. Like for example, in my case, like I cannot legalize my status until something actually comes out from the administration, stuff like an amnesty or immigration
Did you
reform.
guys cross the border illegally?
Um, so the way we came, it was actually using someone else's birth certificate.
Oh, okay.
That's how we didn't actually cross the border. Like, we crossed the
Yeah,
desert
and
stuff
that's
like
I
that.
feel like people think that if you're illegal, you cross the border.
Mhm.
And I was undocumented for about 8 years, and what our case, we came on a plane, we came on a visa, but we were only supposed to be here 6 months. But at that time, my mom didn't have a job in Colombia. It was really hard for her to find a job. She didn't know where else to go. She didn't know what else to do. So she said, I'm taking my two kids to the U.S. And we had family here, and they helped us out. So it's not always the crossing the border. It's not always bad people trying to come here
Right.
and take whatever you guys think we're taking. Like, it's people who are struggling most of the time, people who are looking for a better future. So I agree with you. It's like, it's funny how they portray it as like illegals are like this, I don't know, criminals that are out there killing
Right.
citizens for fun or something. Like, that's not the case at all. And, I'm lucky that I'm documented now. And it was because my mom got married to someone who did have documents. Unfortunately, I was still a minor, so I qualified under her.
Package.
Yeah, so it's it gets to me when people say things about illegals, because I was, illegal, undocumented, whatever at one point. So just hearing these and kind of getting people to see that, like, it isn't this scary, like, ugly. It's not like that at all.
Right.
What do you think have been like the biggest, like, obstacles or the biggest struggles being an adult? I guess both, as in high school and as an adult being undocumented.
Oh, as an adult, you're always thinking about what's gonna happen next, right? Like, what's gonna happen if ICE, comes to my community and, you know, arrest my parents. That's something like I think
It's
about.
always,
It's always on my mind, and also about myself, right? Sometimes I'm like, even though I have DACA, it's not 100% that you're here legally, right? Because something can happen, and you might get deported if for some like little mistake,
you have to be very careful, right? Like, people hear, maybe you're drinking and driving or doing stupid things that you don't necessarily think, but you don't have the luxury to even think about doing those things.
So I'm really careful as an adult. I like to drink and stuff like that, and you have to be really, really careful of driving and drinking at the same time.
Yeah, and just any minor thing can turn into something major, and so just kind of always having that.
Right, but I would say in terms of like, graduating from college and then entering the workforce, for me it wasn't really difficult because, I had like at that moment, like right after graduation, college graduation, I had received my work at the radio station. So finding a job
So it
right
was
after
okay for you.
after college, it wasn't that difficult. And luckily, I work at a charter school for almost 4 years, and then I move on, keep my way up, and now I, I'm a housed at East Bay as a counselor, so it hasn't actually been a difficult, transition of being undocumented to like a dreamer. But yeah.
Okay. And what do you say to like these kids that come to you asking for advice and they are undocumented?
One of the things that I really share with them is that don't ever be afraid of asking for help. There's always someone out there in the community that is willing to help out. I remember in college that I didn't share my story my freshman year because I was scared.
And there's a little bit of shame too, because I remember I was ashamed, not ashamed, but like you kind of feel embarrassed to say like I don't have papers.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I was like, you know what, Miguel? Like, there's someone out there that is gonna help me. Like, I know for sure that there's a lot of undocumented students at East Bay that are willing to share our story, and and that's what I did. I pretty much talked to my professors, and even on my essays, I pretty much expressed them that I was undocumented and that I really need help, right? Especially because I didn't qualify for any federal financial aid.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to one of the professors, and she said, you know what? At East Bay, we have an association, Chicano Latino Staff Faculty Association, that actually gives a scholarship to undocumented students.
Nice, okay.
And that's what I did. I pretty much filled out the application, and 2 months later, I found out that I won the scholarship. Just because of writing my essay and then talking to the professor. If I didn't have the opportunity to share my story or to let other professors know that I was undocumented, I wouldn't gotten the scholarship.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for her. But there's definitely like a lot of help out there in the community. It's just a matter of seeking the help, and yeah, don't be afraid.
Okay. And what would you say to someone that feels like being illegal is wrong, like being undocumented is wrong and you shouldn't be here and go back to your country and whatever awful things they would say? If you had them right in front of you, what would you say?
It will be tough, but I'll be like, hey, we're not here to to take away your job. We are here to contribute to your country, to our country. We are just here
to better
ourselves, and if other students are getting the opportunity to continue with their studies, go for it. We are here to make the economy better, by working full time, contributing to society. It's funny because we as undocumented students or as undocumented people, like we're not even allowed to get benefits from the government, and that's one of the things that a lot of people feel like we are actually doing. We don't qualify for any
for
medical welfare.
for Medi-Cal, for none of that. And I think that's like such a big misconception that people have, especially people like Trump and some of his followers that think, oh, they're here to steal our jobs and our benefits, and you cannot apply for certain things if you don't have a social. So there's no way that undocumented people are here stealing. And even when it comes to the job force, we're not, undocumented people aren't competing with documented people. They're just trying to find something where they can actually work and they can help provide for their family, but they're not out here competing and trying to take citizens down or whatever. It's not like that at all.
Right. And first of all, like, we're not illegal. Like, we didn't came from another continent or another planet. We are all human beings, and we're just here to better ourselves and better the economy, better the United States by working, contributing, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and also, like, in our case, I came to the U.S. when I was 11 too. So it's like, yeah, you could say go back to Colombia, but my adult life has been here, my high school was here, my college was here. So even if I do have family in Colombia and I go visit all the time, but if I went back over there, like, I don't necessarily belong there 100%, but then we also kind of don't belong here 100%. But we're choosing to be here. We're choosing to, like you said, help the economy. We're working, we pay taxes.
Right, we pay taxes, definitely.
And that's another thing that a lot of undocumented people, yes, they use, fake socials, whatever, but they're still paying taxes that they cannot get back when they file taxes. So there's like a huge amount, I think it's like billions of dollars that undocumented people actually contribute to the economy, but we never get back. Or, well, I shouldn't say we because I've never done it, but that they don't get back. They don't file
Right.
their taxes at the end of the year and get money back. Whatever they work, it's just lost. So no one's here stealing anything from anyone, just as an FYI.
Right.
Okay, and I guess any last messages that you would like to say about this?
Let's see.
Any young student that is maybe in your situation in high school worrying about going to college?
Well, I would say definitely there's a lot of opportunities out there. You know, get informed, talk to your counselor, make sure that you know all of the resources that are available to you as an undocumented student. You know, learn about the AB 540 law that allows you to pay in-state tuition when you go to college. Learn about the California Dream Act. Now that undocumented students now can get state financial aid from the state of California, you can actually go to school for free, right? You don't have to pay anything. You just have to like register for either a community college, a CSU, or a UC, and it also it's based on your family's income. So if you qualify, then you can actually go to school for free. You just have to pay for books and stuff like that. There's a lot of scholarships out there for undocumented students that they don't require a social security number.
There's a whole app. I remember I saw a story about a millennial girl who created an app just for scholarships.
She's actually a friend of mine.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah,
yes, I read about her and I was like, this girl is amazing.
Sarah Espinosa.
Yeah, she came out on like Forbes and stuff. So she created an app. Do you know more about it? Because I know a little bit.
So there's an app that you can actually download. It's called Dreamers Roadmap. If you download it on your phone, you can actually see like a bunch of scholarships that are open for undocumented students. And also E4FC, Educators for Fair Consideration. Now it's called Rising Immigrants. They also have like a bunch of scholarships, like a tons of scholarships for undocumented students. Also, if you're a grad student, there are also scholarships for graduate students pursuing their masters. There's also like I said, for undergrads, there's also like a lot of scholarships. It's just a matter of applying
and looking.
You know, and looking, do your essays. Make sure have someone review your essays. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and also as part of my little nonprofit I'm starting, I do want to make this an effort to get more scholarships and offer to undocumented students. So be alert. So I've been ending every video asking one piece of advice to your 17-year-old self. About anything, about life, about school, about anything.
I don't know. Advice. Never give up and work hard.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah.
Think you can.
Huh?
Think you can. You know, work hard.
Yeah.
Give something back to the community and. Yeah.
And keep going.
Keep going, si se puede, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm here to support you. If you ever need any support, I'm here. That's also one of the things that I actually want to do later in life. I want to open up my own nonprofit as well to serve undocumented students, immigrant families, low-income families, and you know, for services.
Nice, yeah, because it is needed, and you know, the situation in other countries is getting really bad.
Right.
You know, Venezuela, Nicaragua. We're just seeing a lot of really sad stories, so I don't think that immigration's slowing anytime soon. And, you know, there's always that misunderstanding that everyone that comes illegally is Mexican, and that's also not true.
Right, it's not true.
It's like, it's always this negative thing towards Mexicans, and it's really all over Latin America, and we're all struggling. And
Asia, like a lot of, like, if you think about a undocumented student, it's not only like a Latino undocumented student, it could be someone from Korea, Asia,
from everywhere.
From maybe everywhere.
That's true, because I think people correlate illegal with Mexican, and that's not it at all. There's Russian, there's European, there's all kinds of stuff, and no that one is better than the other, but it is just something that happens. All right, well, that is going to be the end of this video. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting.
Yeah, and if you guys, again, if you need any support, if you are in this situation, I can maybe share his contact information. You can always reach out to me too. Thank you guys so much, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.